Hello my friends, I hope you liked the Elegua video. Now let's get ready for the next one. Before we do so, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you aren't on Instagram, follow me. I am on Instagram as Spiritual Dr. Afi, A-F-I. That is Spiritual Dr. Afi. Now we move on into the next Òrísha. But if you haven't seen the Elegua, it's going to be a little harder for you to understand what the Òrísha candles are for. So you have to see the Elegua section where I introduce these candles, where I talk about them more specifically and why they are beneficial to you. So make sure that you watch the Elegua video. Now let's jump into Òbátalá. Many blessings to you. Òbátalá, the god of white cloth, the god of peace, the god of humility, the god of being able to, of patience. Òbátalá is, his color is white. Elegua's color is red and black. Red is life. Black is the end, because everything that starts has to end in life. We are born one day, we're going to die one day, beginning and end. And that's what red and black represents, beginning and end. The struggles of life and the end of it. And he is the master communicator of all of our journey on this earth. So Òbátalá, the god of white cloth, he represents peace, he represents patience, he represents consciousness. Our consciousness is the particular energy that governs over our crown chakra located at the top of our head, and which is why he is the one closest to the creator, to God, whoever you call God. Is the energy that gives us peace when we feel, when we are in agony, when we are tormented, when we are conflicted, when we feel like we're going to lose our mind, when we feel that we can't focus, when we feel that we are losing our head, when we feel that our thoughts, make no sense, when we feel that, we just don't feel like we fit anywhere. Òbátalá is an energy that I love. It's not the energy that I'm crowned to, but it's the energy that I love because my godfather, rest in peace, was a son in the tradition. He was a son of Òbátalá, and Òbátalá is the particular Òrísha that puts our, I would say like this: he puts our ego on check. He's the one that checks us out. He is that particular elder that watches us and be like, oh, this is what you want? Okay, if you think you know better, go ahead. Free will, right? And then when the shit hits the fan, when we realize we've been wrong, he's the one that says, well, you've done that and now you gotta pay for this. And when we pay for it, because we bring our own blessings into our journey, but we also, dictate our own fate at times, right? Then he's the one that picks us up and says, okay, did you learn from that? Okay, now let me show you, this is the route that you should have gone. Now let me show you, this is the way that you should have done things. This is what you should have said. This is what you should have, this is the route that you should have taken. So therefore, Òbátalá is that judge. He is known to be the grand judge. Not judge as in judgment, I am bad and you're good, but in a way of being able to teach us that whatever we do, there's a consequence for everything that we do. And Òbátalá was, according to West African mythology, Òbátalá was granted the gift of being able to create us, to mold us, to create our bodies, our mind. That's why he is referred to in the tradition as the owner of our heads. Why? Because he molded us. He created our head. He created our mind, our consciousness. And there's a story about Òbátalá where he's the Òrísha that was most tempted with all the good and all the bad. He's the one that because of certain addictions as he was creating human bodies, as he was molding human bodies, he was drinking lo que se llama vino de palma, palm wine, and he became, I wouldn't say drunk, but he became embriagado. Embriagado in English means he was a little more than tipsy, let's just say. And in his forming bodies and creating bodies and creating human beings, that's how, unfortunately, according to West African mythology and the Yoruba tradition, we ended up with all sorts and kinds of people, right? All sorts of shapes, all sorts of colors, all sorts of deformities as well. He fell asleep, and in his creation, being affected by his own wrongdoings, that's how deformed people came up, and that's how all different kinds of people came up. But in the eyes of the Òrísha Òbátalá, the god of white cloth, the god of peace, the god of tranquility, the god of patience, the god of wisdom, because he is definitely the god of wisdom. And all this, of course, he was granted to him by the creator, by God, right? The creator of life, whoever you and I refer to God. He felt so bad, and he felt so horrible, and he felt so unexplainably horrible of his own mistake, which is why he is impartial to human beings, which is why in the eyes of Òbátalá, there is nobody better than the other. In the eyes of Òbátalá, he does not have preference over men more than women or women more than men. As a matter of fact, Òbátalá's energy, he is androgynous, so he has both female and male characteristics. In West African Yoruba tradition, he's known to be an Òrísha that possess both male and female characteristics. There are paths, roads, avatars of Òbátalá that are female, and there are path roads of Òbátalá that are male. There are roads and paths of Òbátalá that are young, and there are roads and paths of Òbátalá that are old. So he is the eldest Òrísha. He is the Òrísha of time, space, wisdom, patience. So he is also an Òrísha that understands longevity, that understands the power of being young, the power of us being able to take advantage of our youth to do the best that we can, so that when we become old, we're able to benefit from the sacrifices, efforts, that we invested throughout our whole life. He is represented in all that is white. The color white represents Òbátalá, which is the color of expansion and the color of peace, the color of transparency as well. So the inner peace candle is prepped to be able to, first and foremost, be able to have peace in so many challenges that we go through in life that we become impatient over. We live in a day and age and in a society in which everything is timed. Everything, is so we are so under pressure. We are so, pushed for time, and sometimes so many of us don't feel like 24 hours in a day is enough to do all that is required, all that we feel we need to do. So Òbátalá is the one that comes and covers us and holds us and says, hey, no matter how fast you attempt to run, the sun is going to rise at the time that it's going to rise, and the sun is going to set at the time it's going to set. It's not going to set and rise any sooner because you're running faster, right? There's a saying in Spanish that represents that. It says, no por mucho correr, se amanece más temprano. So therefore, Òbátalá teaches us to be patient, but to use our wisdom, to use judgment, to use our reasoning, and not allow ourselves to be governed by anger, not allow ourselves to be governed by our tantrums, and governed by our impatience, and governed by our, spoiled tendencies. So this is the Òrísha that we go to when we feel anxious, and many of us suffer from anxiety. This is the Òrísha that we go to when we literally feel like an outcast. Why? Because he's the one that molded us. He was the one that God said, hey, I give you the responsibility of creating humans and putting them on earth. So he created humans, all sorts of humans, and because of his own shortcomings, all sorts of humans, and deformed, and people that have that are autistic, and all sorts of people were created by Òbátalá, through his mistakes of his encounter with palm wine. So therefore, he protects everyone. He protects all humans. He protects all people, men, women, young and old, and everybody. So when we are worried about our children, this is the Òrísha that we go to. When we are concerned and have pressing health issues, this is the Òrísha that we go to. When we feel that no one wants us, no one looks at us, no one pays attention to us, no one, we feel like we were a mistake. Some of us, some people don't know their parents, some people don't know who their birth mom was, who their birth father was. Some people know who their birth father was, but the father wasn't there, or though their mother, but their mother was absent, and some people feel like they don't belong anywhere. This is the entity, the Òrísha, the deity, the energy that we rest on, looking for that support, trying to find our purpose in life, trying to find our direction, because he created us with the blessings of God. So therefore, he knows that we all have a purpose in life. So he's the one that helps us find that purpose. Okay, he is the one that represents morality. What's the difference between moral and immoral? Doing the right thing, doing the just thing, doing the correct thing for ourselves, for humanity, for a significant other, for our family, for children, for everybody as a human race. He's the one that represents equality. He's the one that represents balance. The scales represents judgment, so therefore he represents balance in all the sense of the word. Okay.